Will the top prospect in all of baseball, Jackson Holliday, make the Orioles opening day roster? We have the answer to that and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Arne. And you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Arne. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And guess what? If you do decide to do that, you might as well take that screenshot of it, bring it over to the Subtext platform, send us over that screenshot of your 5-star rating and review, and you'll have a chance to join our coveted listener league for this upcoming season. We've already filled 2 spots, make it 4, including myself and Matt. We're filling the next 4 spots on March 6th. Then we're going to fill the final 4 spots on March 20th. Guys, so make sure you have your entries in before then. And if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and it gives you notification every time we drop a new episode. And guys, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime, download the Gametime app today, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Guys, use Gametime today. And we are talking about the top 10 prospects for fantasy baseball specifically. And you know, Matt and I specialize in head-to-head categories leagues. So when we're talking about these prospects, we lean a little bit more in that direction. However, we will give you a point spin as well. Matt, why don't we chime in here and you talk about who you have as your number one prospect and I have as my number one prospect, and I think is the consensus number one prospect.
Yeah, I mean, we never even put in the names, but yeah, Jackson Holliday. Jackson Holliday is going to be great. We all know what he's capable of, truthfully. Number one prospect in all
baseball
across both platforms. You can't even do it. The guy's profile is ridiculous. Ultimately last year he had a great season in the minors. 477 at bats, 113 runs, 30 doubles, 9 triples, 12 bombs, 75 ribs, 24 stolen bases, and batted .323. Honestly, I think there's even there's a level of power that just isn't shown. Honestly, I feel like at 6 foot, 185 pounds, he's probably going to keep getting going. And honestly, the power is going to show. He's just 19 years old. So it might take a little bit of time. I could see if he makes the league this year, makes the bigs, he'll probably finish with 20 and 20 something plus steals. I think that's his legitimate expectation for him. There's no true way to really evaluate him until he hits big league pitching, but there is a little something I have for you. I'm not really looking at this year's spring training numbers because it's only been about 7 at bats, but last year, pretty much as a rookie, was able to get a little taste of the spring training last year, and he actually had a really nice 2023 spring training. He had 14 at bats, 2 runs, 5 singles, a double, a rib, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases, and he batted .429. Jackson Holliday getting his first shot at actual big league talent with barely even being in the league last year, is fantastic. And him being able to perform to that level already, now I think this year he's going to take it even further step forward, and he's going to be fantastic. So I'm literally making sure I am drafting him everywhere this season, just on the off chance he gets the call for opening day if I'm drafting today.
Yeah, Matt, very, very strong take on the young Jackson Holliday. The guy is going to be a 5-category contributor. If you don't know, his father was Matt Holliday, former MLB All-Star, was a fantastic player, so it kind of just runs in the bloodline. And if I remember correctly, I think Jackson Holliday has a younger brother who's also like a beast baseball player as well. So we have another Holliday in the works. I honestly think there's no way that Jackson Holliday doesn't make this opening day roster. I think the Orioles just really need to go for it. And plus, if they get Jackson Holliday on that opening day roster, they also get that potential draft pick if Jackson Holliday stays on the roster throughout the whole season. And, I believe wins Rookie of the Year or finishes within the top 3, they get some draft pick compensation for that. So no reason not to have the young Jackson Holliday there. He's coming off the board right now as the 183rd pick, the 19th shortstop. So I think you're just laughing all the way to the bank with Jackson Holliday, even if they hold him down for the first couple of weeks, just to get that extra, control over him. We might see that. We've seen it with guys like Chris Bryant in the past. So I wouldn't put it past them. But you know what? I think either way, we profit from where Jackson Holliday is going right now in fantasy. And I think out of everybody that, all the young prospects, Jackson Holliday will be the best for fantasy baseball going forward. So if you can work away you could trade for him in dynasty or keeper, which is going to be very hard. But if you could pull something off where you're giving up older players and you get somebody like him, you're going to profit off that. But let's move on to this next guy. Let's talk about somebody who's already been in the MLB and has made an impact. It's Evan Carter. I love Evan Carter. Have a huge man crush on him. I've been drafting him as like my outfielder number 3 everywhere. I believe the ADP has moved up on him a bit. I will fact check that here in a second. But I just really want to talk about Evan Carter a little bit more first. He's 6'2", 190 lefty. Going to wind up hitting, I think, maybe like 6th in that Texas lineup. Good spot for him to drive in runs. Last year, Evan Carter in limited sample size, 23 games, 62 at-bats, 15 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, 5 homers, 12 RBIs. 3 steals. The plate discipline is good on Evan Carter too. 12 walks, 24 strikeouts, hit 306 as a 20-year-old Evan Carter in his first taste of the bigs. He's always hit for batting average in the minors. He's got some pop, but he's really fast as well. We didn't really even see a lot of that in the bigs last year. So we're looking at a guy, Evan Carter, that I think is an easy 2020 guy. I think he's going to be plus in batting average, and I think he's going to be really, really good in runs and RBIs. So I think Evan Carter is somebody that we're looking at next year, honestly. Top 15 outfielder, maybe even top 10 potential with Evan Carter. And right now, he's currently coming off of the board as the number 25 outfielder, pick 110. So we're still getting him as a number 3 outfielder, but I think as the word gets out and as spring training just gets crazy, Evan Carter is gonna move up.
Yeah, Dom, well put. I love the kid. He's also somebody I target at the end for my third OF. He's fantastic. I love what he's doing in spring training too so far on the year. My guy is already had 8 at bats, a run, 2 singles, a ribby, 2 stolen bases, bat about 250. But again, it's a short sample size, but still something worth noting. Already getting off to a decent
It's good to see
start.
he's running, though. I like to see that he's running because, like I said, he's fast. So the fact that he's out there running, I'm telling you, there's 30, 35 steal upside.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, too, I think the kid's got like balls of steel, truthfully, because the way he performed in the playoffs,
in the postseason, he was great.
Fantastic. He batted 300 through the whole postseason, which was like something that I really really appreciate, and also can say, hey, there is some serious things. Because if a guy can perform in the playoffs and in the toughest moments, he's going to perform during a whole season. And he really did show out. He had 60 at bats, he had 9 runs, he had 9 doubles, he had a bomb, he had 6 ribs. He walked 10 times and only struck out 19 times.
Exactly.
Like batted 300. Like his OPS was 917. Like Evan Carter was fantastic throughout the whole playoffs. If you can't tell me you can't see a path for him to be fantastic this year, you're smoking crack, or you're getting scared of what Pena did, 2 years ago, where like Pena couldn't pretty much even repeat what he did to the slightest. And the hype. And I get that there could be that risk with Evan Carter, but I just don't see it because Pena came out of nowhere, whereas Evan Carter was a top prospect. So I love Evan Carter for all the reasons. Minor league, my prospect pedigree, performance in the bigs, performance in the postseason, and I think it's going to be performance in the spring training as it unravels. So I love Evan Carter. Do not pass on him. So with that all being said, we got a whole bunch of other names. You probably could think of guys that are already on it, like Jackson Churio and such, Paul Skeens, maybe, but we'll see what's going on. But before that, we do have an ad break for you. You shouldn't have to worry when buying your tickets for the next big event. That's why you need to check out the Gametime app. Gametime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all your sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best prices guaranteed, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for your event coming up. Use the Gametime app. It's super rewarding with flash deals with last-minute tickets. Easy to find. Buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Images of your seat so you can swerve it and actually see what you're going to be looking at from left to right, which is pretty sweet. Lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, which is huge. And all the prices are shown in your total from upfront. So you know what you're getting. Getting a great deal right from the jump. So that includes your fees, your taxes, everything. It's final price. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions may apply. Again, create an account and use the code Locked On, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. And Locked On has launched its launched the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here covering you 24/7 of the top stories of the day with your local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel. And guys, most important, something you're going to want to get involved in, introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. Dive into this offseason with Dom and I as we provide you tiered base rankings with over 100 outfielders ranked, over 100 starting pitchers ranked. You'll also have exclusive access to our prospect insights, way past this top 10 that we're going to reveal, sleepers, breakout, bust, and personalized draft grades. And when you have the burning questions, we've got the answers. And as the season unfolds, rely on our dynamic content. Get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. And trust me, you're going to want those call-up alerts, because if you missed out on Yuri Perez, it's probably because you weren't in the Diamond Club. Stay ahead of your fantasy baseball leagues today by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where your path to victory begins. Subscribe now and elevate that fantasy baseball experience to new levels. Plus, since you should and you will join the Diamond Club, you might as well give us a review on Apple. Take a screenshot, send us that screenshot on the subtext, and you'll get an entry into the lottery to then get into the Listener League. We're announcing next Wednesday 4 slots, and then the final last 4 slots on the 20th. So you don't want to miss out. So let's hop back into it. I did a hell of a lot of talking. Dom, take it away, sir.
Yeah, brother, you know I got you. Guys, I do think Matt and I are locked in. I think our top 5 prospects are exactly the same. So once we start to vary off, we'll let you know. But I think we're locked in for our top 5 prospects are exactly the same. And you might go over to MLB.com and look at that list and be like, hey, why is your list so different than that? We're talking about fantasy specifically, guys. These are the top prospects for fantasy baseball. That's why you're here. So we're giving you the information. Next up, we're talking about Jackson Chourio. Jackson Chourio, outfielder for the Braves. 19-year-old, 5'11", 198 pounds, but he's got a lot of power in that little frame, and he's also super, super fast. Honestly, he's somebody that you need to target because he's still getting undervalued as well. Last year, Chourio in the minors hit 282, 128 games, 531 at-bats, 88 runs. He had 26 doubles, 3 triples, 22 homers, 91 RBIs. 43 walks, 104 strikeouts, not horrible, but we could use a little improvement there, and 44 steals. So Chourio's power speed combo is great. I honestly think he could put a little even more weight and muscle on, get up to like 205, 207. He's 19. He's still like growing up. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if he grew another inch or two. And we're talking about a guy that's, a couple years from now is 6 foot, 210, just looking monstrous, right? I just love Jackson Chourio. I have him ranked pretty high, but we're not really talking about our rankings anymore. If you want Matt and I's rankings, you got to go over to Subtext and get those there. But right now, Chourio is coming off the board. The 35th outfielder, pick 150. So much room to profit there on Jackson Chourio, a potential 5-tool guy. I could honestly see him wind up in, a month or two from now. He's going to be hitting leadoff for that Brewers team and just really be that youth and that youth jump that team really needs at the moment, where, you know, there's kind of a little bit of animosity. They need a guy like Churio that's just going to go out there and play hard every single day, and they can really rally behind a guy like that. And I think Jackson Churio is going to be a superstar in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why he's our number 3 prospect, honestly. He's gonna be great for fantasy, without a doubt. I mean, you know, where he's going in drafts based off of ADP, which will rise, you know, it's gonna be like a stolen base cheat code because you're gonna get a 5 category contributor right off the bat. I love him. And what he's doing in spring training right now is real nice too. 9 at bats, 2 runs, 3 singles, you know, got a ribby, a walk, 2 strikeouts. Already tried the steal bases, got caught unfortunately, but you know it is what it is. It's going to happen. And batting 333, like Churio's like just going to do his thing, and I'm not talking about the cereal. So, you know, I'm really a big fan. I'm drafting him when I can. It just depends on my team mold and you know if he's actually sitting there for once. But this next guy is going so much cheaper, and honestly, I find myself really just stashing him just based off the fact is he going to get the call? You know, drafted in 2023, and that's Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford, I'm a big fan. This dude is just massive and he is fun. I'm trying to get up his stats real quick.
You want me to
This
read
dude,
them? I have them.
I got it right here. So Wyatt Langford, just as a prospect in his short little stint, because like I said, he was drafted in 2023, first round, 4th pick. Probably should have been the first pick because man, this kid is just great. Through 2023 last year, he only had 161 at bats. He had 36 runs, 17 doubles, 2 triples, 10 bombs, 30 ribs, 12 stolen bases, and batting 360. Now, you say, Matt, he's young, he's only played a little bit, but like, yo, you got to look at his college stats too. You know, he had 21 home run season with batting 373. And that was in 236 at bats. In 256 at bats back in 2022, he had 26 home runs, batting 356. Like this dude, it literally has it all. He could be the next superstar, truthfully. You know, if he doesn't get called up right away, he's going to be the number 1 prospect by, I'm going to say, the end of April. And honestly, I don't even think there's a world where he doesn't get called up because I'm hearing from Texas. Not like I have a direct line in their GM room. Do not get me wrong, but what I'm hearing is they're giving him every opportunity to make the team. So here's the key part that we're going to be looking out for Wyatt Langford: how long he lasts with the club during spring training. Does he get sent down first week of March, the second week of March? If he's there after the second week of March, that's when you start saying, he might make that team. Start getting the jits, start really getting on it. Because I'm telling you, the second he hits that team, everybody's going to be on this kid. So if you have an earlier draft, I would try and stash him. There's a seriously good chance he makes that team. There is no reason they shouldn't. He could win Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. He could be the best one out of all these guys. Honestly, because he's already there. Whereas Jackson Holiday might take another year or two to get the power and then be Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford is Wyatt Langford now. This big body boy, I'm excited.
Yeah, Matt, we're on the same page. I've actually already drafted Langford. I have one legit team that I already have, and I did it like, you know, a crazy person the first day that Yahoo opened, and Wyatt Langford was somebody I stand. I think it was literally my last draft pick. Matt, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but Langford's coming off the board right now, the 44th outfielder, pick 181. Absolutely love the value there. Like I said, one of your last picks. You know, Matt was breaking down those stats. I want to break them down even a little bit further. Wyatt Langford went 4 levels as a first-year player. He hit 385 in rookie ball. Then he went to high A. He hit 333 in 24 games. Then he went to double A, hit 405 in 12 games. Finished the year in triple A and hit 368. This guy is just unstoppable. Love Langford, 6'1", 225. And if you look at pictures of him, the guy is just pure muscle. He has a 70 grade power on a 40 to 80 grade scale, and you hardly ever see anybody at a 70 grade. But he also has a 60 hit grade. He has a plus run at 55, so he's going to steal you some bags too, potentially. I love to take this guy as one of my last picks. But as Matt said, be ready for him to rise up. As soon as we get any insight that this kid is making the team, the draft price is going to go up. So if you're drafting, get him on your team now. But guys, before we finish up with the second half of this prospect list, and there's a lot more interesting names and names you need to know about for fantasy baseball, we have one last ad for you. And guys, of course, we're talking about FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all of your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and more. And guys, I know we were talking a little about basketball, but we're a baseball podcast, and you're going to want to get some bets in. You could bet on somebody like Wyatt Langford for AL Rookie of the Year. You're getting great odds over there at FanDuel with that one. Somebody who's a dark horse, Jason Dominguez. Maybe he's ready sooner than later. He got his surgery around the same time as Riley Green. Riley Green's already back and mashing in spring training. So I like Jason Dominguez at very good odds for AL Rookie of the Year as well. But guys, you got to visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Forgot to hit the button. Whoopsie daisy.
And all right, guys, we're back here. We're going to finish this thing up. And Matt, why don't you read off the number 5 guy who I think we're still locked in, right? Number 5 prospect for you as well?
I believe so. It's Junior Caminero, if I'm not mistaken.
Perfect.
It is. So Tampa Bay Rays prospect. I think I even talked about him a little bit yesterday, honestly. Because he was one of the guys I was highlighting from, from being like a great spring highlight. And in all honesty, he should be looked at everywhere. He's fantastic. What he's done in the minors and what he can do for your team is going to be great. I don't think there's a world where he doesn't make the opening day roster. The only thing is we got to worry about it is Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay loves to, instead of rather benefiting from, getting an extra draft pick, they love control instead. So there is a world where he may have a delayed one, but I still might draft him as like my last couple picks just to see if I could stash him. But here, let me read off who he is and what he's about and why I have him up so high. So in 2023 last year, he had 460 at bats. He had 85 runs. He had 18 doubles, 6 triples, 31 bombs, 94 ribs, 5 stolen bases, and batted .324. Okay, his plate discipline is decent. I wouldn't say it's the best. 42 walks to 100 strikeouts. It's not like blowing me away, not killing me either. For points leagues, it may kill you just a smidge, but 8 more and you're really not mad at it either. 8 more walks, Power is absolutely magnificent. You could see it with his doubles and his triples. It takes a lot. He just doesn't steal bases, and that is what it is. He's a 4-category contributor that honestly is going to just mash the ball across the whole yard here. I love Junior Caminero. He is one of my favorite targets this year as well. I don't walk away with all these guys. Like, I definitely don't put myself in a situation.
And you shouldn't, though. You shouldn't.
Right. But, essentially, this is how I kind of would line it up outside of Evan Carter. So you just take him out. If I don't get Jackson Holiday, I'm probably not getting Churio because he's going even higher. I'm probably deciding to say, okay, is Wyatt Langford there or is Caminero there? And whoever is left is the one I pick up. And that is the one guy I stash at the end of my bench because these are the 2 guys that are probably going to make an open day roster that isn't named beforehand. So Caminero is going to be fantastic. You can't really go wrong with either one.
Yeah, Matt, great take on Caminero. And the one thing I'll point out, he's actually, and I know I said this before, so he's another guy with 70 great power. And like I said, you don't really see that often. But the interesting thing is that Caminero is 6'1", 157. So if Caminero gets up anywhere near like 180 and puts like some muscle on, he could be a real 40 home run, 300 hitter with, some great counting stats type of guy. But, he's 20 years old. Would love to see a little bit more from him, but he's kind of, right behind those top 4, and then that the 5 of them I think are really separated from the next 5 when we're talking fantasy baseball, because I really think they're kind of leaps and bounds ahead of these next 5, but we'll kind of run through them. Matt and I start to differ, I think, around here. Matt, I have Paul Skeens number 6. Who do you have number 6?
Let me pull that up. Number 6, I have Dominguez.
Okay, so actually, we mentioned Dominguez earlier, and I have Dominguez as my number 10 prospect. So let's talk about Jason Dominguez, Matt, and my brother. You take the lead on the alien.
All right. It's going to be fun. I love Dominguez straight up. Okay, what he did in his short little stint before, hurting his UCL, right? That's what it is, his UCL, having to get TJ.
Yeah.
So right before that, he was mashing and crashing, and probably, in my opinion, if he would have stayed, he probably would have been my number one prospect. In all honesty, and not because I'm a Yankee fan. Don't let the hat fool you. But you know, Jason Dominguez is just a freak of nature. There's a reason they call him the Martian. He's only 5'9", 190 pounds, but for a guy that pretty much just is always graded as a power guy, a guy that can just mash the ball, but also is super fast, is just it's hard to come by. In his short little stint last year, through 31 at bats, he had 6 runs. He had a double, 4 bombs, 7 ribs, a stolen base, and batted 258. In the minors in 2023, before he got that call, and 456 at bats, he had 89 runs. He had 22 doubles, 3 triples, 15 home runs, 76 ribs, 40 stolen bases, and batted 265. The one thing that you could probably, rub the wrong way for him is the batting average, but the plate discipline isn't atrocious, because even last year, even though he only batted 265, he had 83 walks to 133 strikeouts. He just, I think, chased a little too much, and I can't get that data, unfortunately, for minor league players. But there's room for improvement behind the plate with the plate discipline, and Jason Dominguez, I think, is going to be fantastic. That's why I have him so high. So the only downside is, for this year, he's not going to be back probably till mid to late June, or after the All-Star break. But honestly, you don't really need to draft him, but at the end of April, you better be scooping him up and stashing him on your IL. So Dominguez this is the reason why I just have Dominguez as my 6. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Matt, and I think the only difference, that the reason I have him a little bit lower, is proximity, and we don't know exactly when he's going to be back. I was looking at reports from SNY that are saying that he took swings the other day, and this is the literal quote from them is, "The Yanks still don't have a timeline for a potential return, but all indications suggest Dominguez will be back around July." And that's from SNY. So we don't really know, but Jason Dominguez is elite. Matt really broke him down very well, so I don't really have much to add. I said my number 6 is Paul Skeens. We'll talk about Paul Skeens real quick. Matt, where do you have Paul Skeens?
I have Skeens at at 8.
So we're right there. We're 2 off with Skeens. Skeens, big monster arm, first starting pitcher for us here. Starting pitchers are really tough to, grade, but Paul Skeens, 6'6", 235, 80 grade fastball. I said you never see 80 grades. You literally did never see 80 grades. 80 grade fastball, 70 grade slider, 60 control, 55 changeup. Paul Skeens is just an absolute monster. He's not really going. I'm really not taking him yet for fantasy unless the Pirates really say that he's going to make that roster. But somebody you need to be ready to stash right away. If you have NA spots in your league, maybe stash him. I think Paul Skeens is the next superstar starting pitcher. I absolutely love him.
Yeah, I like him almost as much as I love Andrew Painter. Let's put it that way. But right now I have him ahead of Painter, just because Skeens is going to play this year. Painter isn't. So I need to still see where he's going to be after the TJ surgery, and how long that's going to take, if it just didn't outright ruin his career. So we shall see. Right now, Skeens is the best. I love the fastball. It's just bananas.
Triple digits on the fastball, by the way, guys. Triple digits for Skeens.
Right. And if Painter was healthy this year, I think I'd have Painter obviously in my top 5, because his stuff is just outrageous, the way things just move. Where Skeens doesn't have that, but the power is just overwhelming with Skeens, and man, he's just incredible. But unfortunately, we didn't get to finish out the rest, so we're gonna have another episode.
Yeah, Matt, I think let's do this. Read off your 7 through 10 real quick. I'll do the same, and then if guys you want a deeper dive, you're gonna have to join us on Subtext for it. That's all we got for today. That's all we're gonna have the time for. Real quick, mine. I have Dylan Cruz, outfielder from the Nationals, at 7. Ricky Tiedemann, starting pitcher from the Blue Jays, at 8. Colt Keith, third baseman from Detroit, at 9. And then, as I said, Jason Dominguez at 10.
Yeah, buddy. I got James Wood, Nationals, Paul Skeens, Lawler, and Painter. So,
all right, there you go. So yeah, guys, that's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. I'll be back with you guys with Outfielder 3 episode. Then next week we're moving into some other stuff, so make sure you're locked on for that. But guys, until then, See ya.
Peace.